So this year, Topps put out a product. It was actually the #1 product of the year in 2006, and it was Allen and Ginter, and it was the newer players with the Allen and Ginter style, along with some older players, and they had Cap Anson in there, and some of the older players,
which are beautiful by the lithography on those cards.
They did a great job,
second to none.
Great job, but. Ginters, I mean, have you come across a lot of those over the years? Or?
Those are impossible. Yeah. They're also, calling a spade, which is what I always do. Honest Al is my name. Just right now, right? Mr. Jen Mint?
Am I allowed to speak, or I've been told not to speak?
No.
Can I speak?
Yes.
You had to wind them up, didn't you? I thought you had to wind them up.
Yeah,
I want to continue. I want to continue my
honest Al Rosen. That's how I call you. I'm Mr. Mint. Remember?
Yes. Okay. And I'm Honest Al.
There's your new nickname.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Honest Al. About being Honest
the
Al.
Pirate.
That was your fault.
Alan and Ginter. My favorite cards, by the way, the old-timey. He knows I like the old-timey cards.
I mean, Allen and Ginter's, it's just a 16-card set.
Right.
Not a big deal. It's Cap Anson in it.
Those the first ones.
$10,000 King Kelly. Mm-hmm. The lithography, the colors. Mm-hmm. I mean, nowadays, I hate that. Not everything old is good and everything new is bad, but I call them shiny cards. If you got hit with them from somebody threw them across the room, they take your eye out. A Ginter can't do that. A Ginter is nice and soft paper, beautiful pastel colors,
right.
And if you wanted to put a set of Ginters together, it would probably take you years.
Right.
Years.
Because they're hard to find.
Hard to find.
And especially in good condition, I would imagine.
And
how did they come packaged originally? Were they were
in packs? In packs
tobacco?
Yeah. Absolutely.
With tobacco, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Little individual packs, Allen and Ginter.
And the years they were made?
1889.
That was it?
That was it.
1 year?
1888, 1889.
Okay,
so they made two different styles. And then, I don't know if it's 1887. I don't know. They made a little bigger card with like a little scene on it, a baseball scene.
Would that be the N43?
Yes, that's very good, Doc. Yeah. You're not supposed to show me up.
It's my first day on the job.
Oh. Yeah. At any rate, an N43, I couldn't think of the name of it. That's 1887, I believe.
Okay.
The N43. That, to me, is the most beautiful baseball card ever made.
That's the color ink they're using from the 1800s?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
They're just, and when you shine them in the light, they reflect. They're just beautiful. Just and the writing on the back, I don't know what would you call the font. Very good. You guys know more than I do.
I'm the designer.
It's his second day on the job.
I see. Yeah. The font is just nowadays. It's Pete Rose or Mickey Mantle.
Right.
Now then.
It was classic.
$10,000 Mike King Kelly in quotes. Just great stuff. And another thing great about old baseball is the nicknames. All those nicknames. When we were kids, we used to, Chico Carrasquel and all those guys. They all had nicknames. Nowadays, no one has a nickname. A-Rod. Okay, A-Rod.
Yeah, there's a few, but
not many though.
Yeah,
I know. Like years ago.
Right. Mick the Quick.
Yeah.
Right. Mr. October. Of course, we have Mr. November now.
And Mr. Nobody, since he took my name.
Wow.
Honest Al.
Now, through the years, you got Allen and Ginter's, and we work our way up. What's the next thing in line from Allen and Ginter?
T206s.
So in the early 1900s. So it was a span before there were more cards made.
Well, there weren't any cards made.
Well, the Ginter from the Ginters.
Yeah, that's 1880s.
Okay.
And then the T206 were manufactured. It was 523 cards in a set. That's one of the most popular, if not the most popular, vintage set to collect.
Right.
205s.
T205s to a certain extent. How does he know? How does the Pirate know?
The Pirate, he's like a couple hundred years old, and he likes the old-timey cards.
He likes the old-timey stuff.
Anyway, that's a very nice card, but they chip very easily.
The 205s.
Yeah.
Well, they have the gold border, right?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't like
the
the
Pirate
chipping.
likes the gold, that's why.
At any rate, they made 15 different, Allen and Ginter, Tolstoy or Sweet Capra, whatever the company was, would take a blank baseball card and put your advertisement on it on the back. Whether there's 13 different brands of
this is marketing
tobacco.
100 years ago.
Yeah. They'd make a blank set of 523 cards.
Right.
And not every card comes.
Not every card would put the back on, or the tobacco.
No, the company. The company would print it with a Sweet Cap or the Tolstoy or Old Mill, but not every card Like the old mills feature players from down south, down in Mississippi. And
is that's how that works?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a regional kind
There's
of
a
thing.
book made, a very good book, made in the 60s, identifying all the different factories and what companies made which, what players they featured on their cards. And then you go from, T205s, T206, because you got the Turkey Reds, those are the bigger card, those are absolutely gorgeous.
The cabinet cards.
Cabinet. Right. And then you go into, Gaudis. That was in the
30s, right?
The 30s. They came out with colored cards. Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth.
Right. Now those are like square.
Those are square.
For the kids who are watching that might not know.
Gowdy Gum Company of Boston, Massachusetts made them.
And that's like Ruth, Gehrig, all those, that era, Melot.
Chris Speaker. Some of the greatest players who ever played the game.
And kids can go out and find those at a reasonable price.
Oh, those are...
maybe not the Ruths, but the lower end.
A Ruth you could buy for a decent condition Ruth for $800 to $1,000.
Right.
You can buy a common for $5 to $6.
Yeah, so that's
a card that's 75 years old.
Right.
What about exhibit cards?
Exhibit cards?
Salutation, they've made from 1939 to 1966, basically. They had an exhibit supply company of Chicago made them, and they run the gamut. And the salutations have, obviously, they're signed "Sincerely Yours" or "Most Respectively Yours Truly." That's when people were what is the word I'm looking for? More respectful to other people.
Right. Yeah, that went the hell out the window.
Yeah, that right out
especially
the window.
tonight.
Not like me. Not like the pirate.
Not like the pirate.
No. I'm a pirate.
They started the American and National League. The exhibits went from 1946 to 1966. That's when the major set was made, and that featured most a black and white. You put a penny in a machine and you pull a handle, and out would come this at amusement parks. And
they'd have them right here on the boardwalk. Well, for the people who are tuning in for the first time and don't know about our show, we're only a few minutes from the Atlantic Ocean here. Seaside Heights, it's a boardwalk, a lot of amusement stuff up there. And for years they had machines you could go up there and
exhibit supply company machines. On Monday I'm going to buy a collection in New York that has 6 different, and they had some beautiful signs, on top of the exhibit card machines, which were Neanderthal-looking metal machines painted red or green. There are these big display cards, which feature some of the cards on the display card. And those are more valuable than the machine. Right. So, exhibit cards are nice, and then the major collectors will lean towards Topps and Bowman cards. That's the mainly collected set.
So coming through the years, we get the Ginters in the 1800s, we get into the early 20th century, we get to the T206s, we get the T205s, and there's a slew of other stuff. There's the Hansons in there, and
there are cards that are 10 times rarer than Honus Wagner.
Sure.
But didn't get the publicity that the Wagner got, and didn't appear on the front pages of our price catalogs.
I think that's the ones I sold them for like a nickel. So, yeah. And
knowing you wouldn't sell anything for a nickel.
Everybody's a comedian.
Yeah.
So we get into the
Give me that wig.
We get hey, my hair. It takes a long time to do my hair. So we get into the Gaudis in the 30s.
I want to feel at home.
That's good.
Let me tell you.
I haven't had hair in 35 years.
Folks, I got to tell you.
I want to see how I look.
We've had a lot of special guests on the show, and Mr. Alan Rosen,
He's
Mr.
very
Mint.
attractive. I tell you, if we were at the sea for a long time, I would go for that. I would really. All you have to do is shave that off, and I'll tell you, he'd be pretty attractive. There.
He has been the most gracious, most gracious
You're the
guest.
Spit it out there.
I'm a guest.
It's English respect.
Only once I've been the guest.
He's
never again.
The best guest that we've ever had on the show. I want to make that quite clear to everybody. But if you
just bend over and pull out your pants, and it'll.
If you're watching, he's taken us. He only buys cards from 1869 to 1969.
He's smart.
Don't call him tomorrow and tell him you got a whole bunch of.
You haven't put my phone number on the screen. I've been watching.
Why don't we do that? Let's get his number up.
307 0700.
But
You want to put your name on it?
I'll get calls from pirates.
don't call him tomorrow and tell him you got a whole slew of 1970 even, because he only buys from 1869 to 1969, the old-timey ones. So when you get through the years, we get up to the Gowdies, and then we start getting into the Bowmans. Now, Bowman was... What happened to Gowdy? Did they just...
Gowdy printed 33, 34, 35, up to 43, 42.
But they disappeared?
Then the war. Yeah, no, the war.
Okay.
No one made cards in the war, in the war years. And then Bowman started in 1948 with their square little black and white cards, and they went up to 52. And then there was fights, at that time.
Bowman was the big guy.
Bowman was it.
The big guy on the block.
Bowman was the big guy on the block. But then there was fights. Topps came into the scene and started paying the players extra money, double and triple what they were getting from Bowman to go to Topps.
Okay.
Bowman never recovered.
Right.
1955.
Now, Topps was in business before they started making the baseball cards, right? They've been in business like 38. They were making bubble gum.
They're a gum company.
Right.
They're a candy company.
The card was a freebie.
The card was, they were selling you the gum for a nickel and giving you 6 cards for free.
Right.
Absolutely.
Why you got that wig on?
It looks good.
So,
I saw this wig in a box out front.
Yeah.
I told Mr. Mint Pirate that I like to wear it.
Sometimes when I go places and I don't like to be noticed, I put a blonde wig on, and I just don't, I go out. I can't even go somewhere and eat dinner. The people
You're
bother
such
me.
a star now.
One time it found me, and you're familiar with, you're knowledgeable, and so are you with cards. 1956 Bowman cards.
56.
Yes,
Bowman.
I had an album.
Are they colored?
Yes.
Okay.
They were just like the 55s, only they were, instead of being horizontal, they were vertical. And they had round pictures of the players. And I think there was 8 pages. There was 32 cards in that album. And they were just the designs, not the backs. They were pasted, face up, in a book. And I got that from Mr. Gelman, Richard Gelman, whose father was Woody Gelman, who started Topps. And I bought that book, and I made copies, and to this day I still have, I sold it, because I buy and sell. Right. But I still have the copies of the 1956 Bowman, and there are no cards known to exist. They never made them, because Topps bought them out in 1955. They didn't buy them out, they put them out of business because of the gum.
But today we still have Bowman. How is that possible?
I imagine, like I said,
Topps
I don't know
resurrected the name, I guess?
Just the name, I think.
Just the name. They probably bought the rights to it. I don't know.
Right. So that's pretty cool. So we get into the 50s, and now we're at, Topps they're the dog. They're it.
To me, Topps, I know they just sold a company, Mr. Eisner.
Well, it's not a done deal yet.
Well, okay.
It's close.
But
I tried to...
When you talk about Coca-Cola...
I came up a little... I had about $350 million. We fell a little short in the outbid me side. I was going to call you. See if you wanted to go in.
You should have went in partners with this man right here.
We might still be able to do that.
You'd be owning that company.
Card number 1 would be you. Card number 2 would be the Pirate.
Thank you.
Number 3 would be me.
Honest Al.
But Topps, Kleenex, Coca-Cola, somehow they didn't come on with their, to lean back on their history. A baseball card. There are no baseball cards at Topps.
Right.
Topps is Topps.
Yeah.
I just think the whole company was run... They'll probably sue me tomorrow.
Yeah. Get in line.
Yeah. But Topps to me is like a household name. If you collect cards...
Yeah. Well, it's an American icon. It's what it is. It's part of our 20th,
when you
20th
look at a
century
1953 Topps with a painted Mickey Mantle face, those are the nice thick cardboard. Now it's all shiny and stamped out. I don't know. Those early Topps cards are great. And then, they started overproducing. In 1980, after 85, when you buy top sets from 86, 87, 89, 90, I think in 92 they stopped the presses for a couple of seconds a day. But an 88 top set is, to me, one of the biggest bargains in our hobby. You can buy for $2.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
An 89 top set is $2. 723 players for $2.
A lot. Well, no, 89 is Griffey, but you can buy the 89 cheap too. But a lot of times parents will come in and it'll be their first time in, and they'll look at the shelf and they'll say, gee, $100 for a box of cards, and we'll have a little clearance thing over there, and they'll walk over and they could find a, here's a for instance. Now, I don't know how familiar, I'm sure you're familiar with the O-Pee-Chee stuff, but here's a 1990 factory-sealed O-Pee-Chee set.
Now, I want to tell you something, not blowing smoke up your butt. That's the first time in my entire life that I've seen an O-Pee-Chee set like this.
Is that right?
I never knew they were made.
Yeah, factory set.
Canada.
Yeah, but I mean, they made top sets like this because when I collected, I even collected, the newer stuff, and it always looks prettier, not like in a plain brown box, but in a colored box with the, what is it called, designer? The a litho box. A lithograph box. But I never know they made O-Pee-Chee. Where does it say O-Pee-Chee?
Well, it's got the...
Oh, yeah.
It's got the Canadian
How much
thing.
is that?
These.
Well, in this place, it's probably 20. But what is it really worth?
The book value's, I believe, $40 or $50. Mike, we call him Mr. O-Pee-Chee.
Yeah.
Okay, he lives in Tom's River. He's moving to California, and he brought me some of his, leftover supply that he had, and we retail these out for $10, $15. Now somebody can come and get a whole set of these.
10, 15. It says 35.
No, that's the current ones. Just kidding. So you can take that off now if you like. So
I was finding that very attractive. I got to tell you.
Well, this I'm going to give you as a gift tonight.
Well, thanks, Doc.
I know you don't. I know you don't do after.
And he's going to give it to me.
Yeah, sure.
No, I'm going to sell it to him.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, don't worry. He's going to give it to you.
Some things never change.
But
$3. It pays for some of the gas.
We come through the century. Topps is Topps, but there was some Fleer stuff in there. Ted Williams set was in there, and
now that's what
Philadelphia
collectors. When matter of fact, I have in the car. I have a gentleman's collection. I'm going to buy Wednesday in Detroit. He wants $286,000 for the collection, and we just spoke on the way when I drove down here. We spoke about how come he never went in for the oddball stuff, because that's much harder to find. All the Topps insert stuff, the 59 Fleer, the 63 Fleer with the checklist.
Right.
They weren't even made 1 year. Those are really neat. But he has 556 sets, 857 sets. I mean, it's meat and potatoes is what I'm going to buy from him. Right. But there's no exciting stuff. You know what I mean, Doc? By exciting stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Red Heart dog food. Right. Those are
the oddball stuff.
Yeah, the oddball stuff. You can go through the standard catalog or the Beckett guide and find 500 issues that maybe I've had once or twice in 31 years of doing business. I mean, these are fine, and these are your Chevy and Fords, but you get some of those old Wilson Wieners. 20 cards. Ted Williams with that big swing with that ball and that package of hot dogs, flying away.
Yeah.
Those are great cards.
Yeah.
Great cards.
Now, if somebody wants to, we're going to go to a caller. Okay. Good. You're live with the Doc.
Hey, Doc. It's Jerry from Rockaway.
What's happening, buddy?
Not much.
You watching the show?
Yeah. I was at my sister Mint.
What's your beef? What's your grief tonight, buddy? You got something to say to Mr. Mint?
Mr. Mint, which one of your favorite cards for your collection?
Well, I'd have to say that would have to be my 1957 Roberto Clemente card.
Okay. I think he means Mr. Rosen.
Honest Al.
Did you mean Mr. Rosen or Mr. Mint? Because I'm no longer Mr. Mint, as you've been listening to the show.
He's the real Mr. Mint. Go ahead.
My favorite card is
nothing or whatever.
My favorite card is a 1953 Topps Mickey Mantle.
That is a beautiful card. That is.
You have it graded?
I have it graded. I have a 7. I can't afford, unlike Doc and the Pirate, I can't afford to buy 8s and 9s.
PSA or BGS?
No, PSA.
Do you prefer PSA?
I prefer PSA. I like SGC. Beckett, I'm a huge advertiser.
I know you are.
But
You're always in Beckett magazine a lot?
yeah, I'm on the inside cover there of every issue. But I think, honestly, Honest Al, remember?
Honest Al.
Mr. Pirate. That I think cards are worth more if they're in the proper holders.
Yeah.
Like, a PSA card is always good. An SGC card, I think the older cards, like if you get a 96 or a 98, they use a different grading system. I think they sell better in the vintage cards.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just a feel.
They look good in the holder, too.
What about GAI?
GI I like too. As a matter of fact, I don't know if people out there in viewing land know this, but Mike Baker, who's the president of GAI, used to be the president of PSA. He's the original grader of PSA, and he's a good friend, and he's a nice guy. Hi, Mike.
You ever grade any of your packs?
What was that, Jer?
You ever grade any of your packs?
Oh, sure. I had a collection last year that I graded. It was the largest single pack collection in the hobby.
What was it?
And everything was graded by GAI. I had well over 1,600 different baseball, football, basketball, and hockey packs.
Wow.
From 1937 up to 1969 is where I stopped. 75 I stopped.
You never opened any of them?
No, they were already sealed when I bought them, thank God, because I would open them.
Your highest grade.
Hey, listen, Jeremy, thanks for calling in tonight, okay,
Thanks,
buddy?
Jeremy.
Mr. Mint, can you send me an autograph?
If you email me, I'll give you my email address.
I mean, I sent you the email and it never came back.
All right, Jeremy, shoot me an email. You know how to do it, right?
Yeah.
All right, we'll get you one.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, buddy.